My name is Margaret. I am 70 years old. And I have seen many things in my life. I have raised 3 children, buried a husband, and weathered financial storms that would break lesser people. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for the horror of seeing my own granddaughter fading away before my eyes, while her mother stood by and laughed. It was the height of July, a sweltering Saturday that made the asphalt shimmer. My son David and his wife Vanessa were hosting a pool party at their new home. It was a magnificent house, I must admit. White marble floor-to-ceiling glass. An infinity pool that seemed to spill into the horizon. It was a house built for appearances, much like the life Vanessa had curated on social media. I arrived carrying a Tupperware container of my famous potato salad. The kind made with real mayonnaise and hard-boiled eggs, a recipe passed down from my own mother. I expected to see my 7-year-old granddaughter Lily running to the gate. I expected to hear her splash in the water, her laughter ringing out like a bell. But when I walked into the backyard, the scene was eerily quiet. It looked like a magazine spread, not a family home. Beautiful, thin women in designer kaftans were sipping green liquid from crystal glasses. Men in linen shirts were discussing stocks. And there, sitting under a large white umbrella, was Lily. She was wearing a swimsuit, a designer piece, black and chic, far too mature for a child of 7. She was sitting with her knees pulled up to her chest, shivering even though it was 90 degrees out. "Lily, my love," I called out, hurrying toward her. She looked up. Her eyes, usually so bright and mischievous, were dull and sunken in dark sockets. Her skin had a grayish translucent quality, like old parchment. "Hi, Grandma," she whispered. Her voice was thin and reedy. "Why aren't you swimming?" I asked, setting my purse down. "It's a pool party." "I'm cold," she said, her teeth chattering slightly. I reached out to touch her arm, and what I felt made my stomach turn over. There was no flesh, no softness of childhood. It was just bone under a thin layer of skin. I ran my hand down her back and felt every single vertebrae, sharp and protruding, like the ridges of a dinosaur skeleton. "My God," I gasped, pulling back. "Lily, look at you. You're your skin and bones." Just then Vanessa glided over. She looked perfect, of course. Not a hair out of place, her body toned and tanned, holding a glass of that sludge-colored green juice she was always promoting on her Instagram. "Margaret!" she exclaimed, leaning in to give me an air kiss that didn't touch my cheek. "You made it. Oh, and you brought that." She looked at my potato salad with a mix of pity and disgust. "We're actually doing a keto vegan cleanse today, so we'll probably just put that in the kitchen for the staff." "Vanessa," I said, ignoring her insult. "Have you looked at Lily? She's freezing. And she is alarmingly thin. When was the last time this child ate a proper meal?" Vanessa laughed. It was a light tinkling sound, the kind of laugh that is practiced in front of a mirror. "Oh, stop being so dramatic, Margaret. She's just going through a growth spurt. Besides, she's prepping." "Prepping?" I repeated. "Prepping for what? A famine?" "For Little Miss Sunshine State," Vanessa said, her eyes gleaming. "The pageant is next month. We need her to be lean. The judges hate baby fat. It looks sloppy on camera." "She is 7. I snapped, my voice rising. "She shouldn't be lean. She should be growing." "She's fine," Vanessa waved a hand dismissively. "She's just a little low energy today because she's detoxing sugar. It makes them lethargic for a few days. Now come have a kale spritzer." She walked away as if the conversation was over. I looked back at Lily. She had closed her eyes, her head resting on her bony knees. "Lily," I whispered, "are you hungry?" She opened one eye, checking to see where her mother was. Seeing Vanessa was out of earshot, she nodded. A small, desperate nod. "I'm so hungry, Grandma," she breathed. "My tummy hurts." I felt a rage ignite in my chest, hot and fierce. "Come with me," I said. I took her hand, it felt like holding a bundle of twigs, and led her into the house. The kitchen was expansive, pristine, with white counters that looked like they had never seen a crumb. I opened the massive refrigerator. It was filled with rows of green juices, containers of cut celery, and expensive alkaline water. There was no milk, no cheese, no bread, no fruit that contained too much sugar. Where is the food? I muttered, opening the pantry. Inside, I found bags of almond flour, protein powders, and supplements. Finally, on a high shelf, I found a box of dry gluten-free crackers. It wasn't much, but it was something. I grabbed the box and handed a cracker to Lily. She didn't eat it. She devoured it. She shoved the whole thing in her mouth, chewing frantically, crumbs falling onto her swimsuit. She looked like a starving animal I had once seen in a documentary, desperate and terrified that the food would be taken away. "Slow down, baby, slow down," I said, tears pricking my eyes. "Here, have another." She reached for the second cracker, her hand trembling. But before she could take it, the box was slapped out of my hand. It hit the floor, spilling dry crackers everywhere. I spun around. Vanessa was standing there, her face twisted in a mask of fury. "What are you doing?" she shrieked. "Are you trying to poison her?" "I am trying to feed her," I yelled back. "She is starving, Vanessa. Look at her eating crumbs off the floor." And she was. Lily had dropped to her knees and was picking up the broken pieces of cracker from the tile, putting them into her mouth with shaking hands. "Stop it, Lily," Vanessa barked. "Stand up. Have some dignity." She grabbed Lily by her thin arm and yanked her up. Lily let out a whimper. "Those crackers are for emergencies," Vanessa hissed at me. "They are full of processed carbs." She has already had her calorie allowance for the day. She had a smoothie at 8 a.m. It is 2 p.m. I screamed. She has had nothing but liquid for 6 hours? In this heat? "It's intermittent fasting," Vanessa said coldly. "It optimizes cellular regeneration. You wouldn't understand, Margaret. You're from a generation that thinks casseroles are healthy. I am building a brand. Lily is going to be a star. She has the bone structure for it, finally. She has the bone structure because her body is eating itself," I retorted. Just then my son David walked in. He looked tired. He always looked tired these days, wearing expensive clothes that seemed to weigh him down. "What is going on?" he asked, looking between us. "I can hear you from the patio." "David," I pleaded, turning to him. "Look at your daughter. Really look at her. She is emaciated. Vanessa is starving her. She's sabotaging the diet." "David," Vanessa interrupted, her voice turning into a whine. "I have worked so hard to get Lily's bloating down for the pageant. And your mother is force-feeding her crackers." David looked at Lily. For a second, I saw a flicker of concern in his eyes. He saw the ribs. He saw the dark circles. But then he looked at Vanessa, and the fear of his wife overrode the love for his child. "Mom," he sighed, rubbing his temples. "Vanessa knows what she's doing. She has a nutritionist. She's just naturally slender." "Like Vanessa. Naturally slender?" I pointed at the child who was swaying on her feet. "She is about to pass out." "She's fine," Vanessa insisted. "Lily, show Grandma you're fine. Do a pirouette." Lily looked at her mother with terror in her eyes. She took a shaky breath and tried to lift her arms into a ballet position. She rose onto her toes, and then her eyes rolled back in her head. There was no sound, just the soft thud of her small body hitting the marble floor. "Lily!" I screamed, dropping to my knees. I gathered her in my arms. She was limp. Her skin was clammy and cold. "She fainted," Vanessa said, sounding more annoyed than worried. "I told you she was dramatic." "Get up, Lily. Stop acting." "She is not acting," I roared, pressing my ear to her chest. Her heart was beating, but it was fast and erratic, like a trapped bird. "Call 911. "Do not call 911, Vanessa snapped. "Do you want a siren here? The neighbors will talk. It will be all over the blogs. Just give her some water. She's just dehydrated." I looked at my son. "David, give me your keys. Now." "Mom, maybe Vanessa is right," David stammered. Maybe we should just let her rest. Give me the keys or I swear to God, David, I will scream so loud, every guest at that party will come running in here and see what you've done. He went pale. He reached into his pocket and handed me the fob to his SUV. I didn't wait. I scooped Lily up. She was terrifyingly light, like holding a bag of feathers, and ran out the side door to the driveway. I didn't care about the car seat. I laid her across the back seat and strapped her in as best I could. As I peeled out of the driveway, I saw Vanessa standing in the doorway, her arms crossed, shaking her head, as if I had just made a terrible faux pas at a dinner party. The drive to the emergency room was the longest 15 minutes of my life. I kept looking in the rearview mirror. Lily was unconscious, her head lolling to the side. I prayed. I prayed to God, to my late husband, to anyone who would listen. Please don't let her die. Please don't let me be too late. I pulled into the ER bay and screamed for help. 2 nurses and a doctor ran out. When they saw Lily, their professional masks slipped. I saw the shock in their eyes. Pediatric trauma bed 1. The doctor yelled. Severe cachexia. Possible dehydration. Get me a line stat. They took her from me. I ran alongside the gurney, holding her limp hand, until they stopped me at the double doors. You have to wait here, ma'am, the nurse said gently but firmly. She's my granddaughter, I sobbed. Her name is Lily. We'll do everything we can, she promised. I sat in the waiting room shaking. I had blood on my dress. Not mine, but from a small scrape Lily had gotten when she fell. I didn't care. I stared at the clock. 30 minutes later, the doctor came out. He was a tall man with a serious face. He looked angry. Mrs. Miller? He asked. Yes. How is she? She's stable but barely, he said, his voice clipped. Her electrolytes are critically low. Her blood sugar was almost non-existent. She is suffering from severe malnutrition and dehydration. Her body has started to cannibalize its own muscle tissue to survive. That's why her heart rate is erratic. The heart is a muscle, and it's weak. I covered my mouth to stifle a scream. I need to know, the doctor said, leaning in, his eyes hard. Who is responsible for this child? This level of starvation doesn't happen overnight. This is months of neglect. It's her mother, I whispered, shame burning my face. She wants her to be a model. She puts her on cleanses. The doctor's jaw tightened. That is not a cleanse. That is torture. Just then the automatic doors slid open. Vanessa marched in, followed by David. Vanessa was wearing oversized sunglasses and looking around the waiting room with disdain, as if the germs might jump out and attack her. Where is she? Vanessa demanded, walking up to us. Where is my daughter? The doctor stood up to his full height. I am Dr. Evans. You are the mother? Yes, Vanessa said, lifting her chin. And I want to know why you have her on N4. I specifically forbid saline. It causes water retention. She has a weigh-in on Monday. I thought Dr. Evans was going to hit her. I saw his hand clench into a fist at his side. Ma'am, he said, his voice deadly quiet. Your daughter is not going to a weigh-in. She is currently in the ICU because her organs were beginning to shut down from starvation. Starvation? Vanessa scoffed. Please. She eats the highest quality organic produce. She is just petite. You doctors always overreact. I want to take her home. David, tell him we are taking her home. David looked at the doctor, then at Vanessa. He looks sick. Vanessa, the doctor says her organs. He's lying to bill the insurance. Vanessa shrieked. She is fine. She just needs to sleep it off. If they pump her full of fluids, she's going to look puffy for weeks. The pageant director will cut her. You are worried about her looking puffy? I stepped forward, my voice trembling with a rage so pure, it felt like white heat. Vanessa, she almost died on your kitchen floor. She fainted. Vanessa yelled. Models faint. It's part of the discipline. Dr. Evans stepped between us. Security, he called out. 2 uniformed guards stepped forward. You are not taking that child anywhere, Dr. Evans said to Vanessa. I have already called Child Protective Services. A caseworker is on their way. Until they arrive, Lily is under the custody of this hospital. And if you try to enter that room, I will have you arrested. Vanessa's mouth dropped open. You called CPS? On me? Do you know who I am? I have 50,000 followers. I am a wellness expert. You are an abuser, Dr. Evans said flatly. Security, escort them to the waiting area. They are not to go past these doors. Vanessa started screaming. She threw her designer bag on the floor. She screamed that I was jealous, that the doctor was incompetent, that we were all trying to ruin her daughter's career. David just stood there, staring at the double doors where his daughter lay dying of hunger, realizing for the first time that the wellness he had paid for was actually a slow execution. I sat back down in the hard plastic chair. I watched my daughter-in-law throwing a tantrum about her reputation, while her child was being fed through a tube. And I knew with a certainty that settled in my bones like lead, that I could never let Lily go back to that house. This was war. And for the sake of that little girl, I was going to destroy Vanessa. I waited for the social worker. Her name was Ms. Rodriguez. She arrived an hour later, looking tired but sharp. She spoke to the doctor first, then she came to me. Mrs. Miller, she said, I need you to tell me everything. And I did. I told her about the green juices, the lack of food in the pantry, the obsession with the pageant, the fainting. And then I remembered something I hadn't thought about until that moment. Last month I told her, my voice shaking. We were at the park. Lily found a piece of bread on the ground, a piece of bread intended for the ducks. Before I could stop her, she picked it up and ate it. I thought she was just being a curious child. But looking back, she ate it like she was ravenous. Ms. Rodriguez took notes, her face grim. Thank you. I need to speak to the parents now. I watched her walk over to Vanessa and David. Vanessa immediately launched into her defense, using words like clean eating, toxins, and discipline. She pulled out her phone to show photos of Lily posing, as if the child's hollow cheeks were a trophy. Ms. Rodriguez didn't look impressed. She looked horrified. After 20 minutes, Ms. Rodriguez walked back to the doctor. They spoke in hushed tones. Then she came back to me. We are placing Lily in emergency protective custody, she said. Given the medical evidence, we cannot release her to the parents. Is there a relative willing to take placement? I said instantly. I will take her. I have a room. I have food. Good, she said. There will be an emergency hearing in 72 hours. You need to be prepared. The mother is going to fight this. Let her fight, I said, looking at Vanessa, who was now aggressively texting someone, probably her lawyer. I'm ready. I stayed at the hospital for 3 days. I slept in the chair next to Lily's bed. When she finally woke up, she was confused. She looked at the 4 tube in her arm. Am I sick? She whispered. No, honey, I said, stroking her hair, which I noticed now was brittle and thinning. You were just very hungry. Mommy will be mad, she said, tears filling her eyes. I'm not supposed to be here. I have practice. Mommy isn't here, I said firmly. And you don't have practice. You have rest. The nurse brought in a tray. It had Jell-O broth and a few crackers. Lily looked at the tray with longing, then pulled her hands away. I can't, she whispered. Carbs. Lily, I said, my heart breaking. The doctor said this is medicine. You have to eat it. Is it 0 calorie? It doesn't matter, I said, realizing how deep the indoctrination went. It's magic food. It makes you strong. Please, baby. For Grandma. She hesitated. Then with a trembling hand, she picked up a spoon of Jell-O. She put it in her mouth. The look of relief on her face, the sheer physical relief of sugar hitting her system, made me weep. The hearing was set for Tuesday morning. I hired the best family attorney in the city, a woman named Sarah who was known for being a shark. This is a clear case of medical neglect, Sarah told me. But be warned. The mother is charming. She is going to spin this as a lifestyle choice and claim you are old-fashioned and sabotaging the child's health. Let her try, I said. Tuesday morning came. I walked into the courthouse wearing my best suit. David and Vanessa were there. Vanessa was wearing a modest dress, trying to look like the grieving mother. David wouldn't meet my eyes. The judge was a stern woman in her 60s. She looked at the file on her desk, then at Vanessa. Mrs. Miller, the judge said, the medical report states that your 7-year-old daughter weighs 38 pounds, that she has the bone density of an 80-year-old woman. Do you have an explanation? Your Honor, Vanessa stood up, her voice trembling perfectly. My daughter is an athlete. She is a pageant competitor. We follow a strict organic diet. My mother-in-law, she feeds her sugar, processed trash. Lily has a sensitive stomach. I was just trying to heal her gut. Heal her gut? The judge looked over her glasses. By starving her? It's not starvation. Vanessa insisted. It's purity. I want her to be perfect. Is it a crime to want your child to be beautiful? To be a winner? It is a crime when it kills her, the judge snapped. Then they called David to the stand. My son David walked to the witness stand, like a man marching to the gallows. He looked 10 years older than he had a week ago. His suit, usually tailored to perfection, hung loosely on his shoulders. He sat down and avoided looking at Vanessa, who was staring at him with a mix of expectation and warning. Mr. Miller, the judge said, her voice echoing in the quiet courtroom. You lived in the same house. You ate dinner at the same table. Did you not notice your daughter was wasting away? David cleared his throat. He looked at his hands. I work a lot, Your Honor. I leave early. I come home late. That is an excuse, not an answer, the judge said sharply. Did you know your wife was restricting the child's food to this extent? I knew they were dieting, David whispered. Vanessa said it was for the pageant. She said Lily needed to be lean. And you agreed with this? David finally looked up. He looked at me, sitting in the front row, clutching my purse. Then he looked at the large screen, where the lawyer had displayed the medical photos of Lily from the hospital. The photos showed her protruding ribs, her spine clearly visible through the skin, the dark circles under her eyes. No, David said, his voice cracking. I didn't look. He started to cry. I didn't look. I just paid the bills. I saw her modeling photos, but Vanessa, she edits them. She makes Lily look healthy in the pictures. But in real life, I guess I just didn't want to see it. David, Vanessa hissed from her table. Her lawyer shushed her aggressively. So you admit to negligence? The judge asked. I admit I failed my daughter, David said, sobbing now. I let my wife turn her into a project instead of a child. Vanessa let out a gasp of outrage. He is lying. He wanted her to win just as much as I did. He loved the trophy case. Order. The judge banged her gavel. Mrs. Miller, one more outburst and you will be removed. The judge turned back to David. Thank you, Mr. Miller. You may step down. Then it was my turn. My lawyer, Sarah, guided me through the events of the party. I described the pantry. I described the fainting. I described Vanessa's reaction at the hospital, the concern for puffiness over survival. But the most damning evidence wasn't my testimony. It was the interview the social worker had conducted with Lily in the hospital. They played the video recording for the court. On the screen, Lily looked tiny in the hospital bed, surrounded by stuffed animals I had bought her. Lily, the social worker asked gently in the video, what happens if you eat bread? Lily's eyes went wide on the screen. Mommy cries, she whispered. Mommy says bread makes you fat and ugly. And if I get fat, I can't be Miss Sunshine. And if I can't be Miss Sunshine, Mommy won't love me. A collective gasp went through the courtroom. I saw the judge's face harden into stone. Does Mommy say she won't love you? She says she can't love a failure, Lily said matter-of-factly. She says fat people are failures. She puts pictures of fat people on the fridge to scare me. She calls them pigs. On the screen, Lily looked down at her hands. I ate a cracker at Grandma's. Am I a pig now? I broke down crying. I couldn't help it. Beside me, Sarah squeezed my hand. Even Vanessa's lawyer looked down at his desk, unable to look at the video. The video ended. The courtroom was silent. The judge looked at Vanessa. Mrs. Miller, you told this court that you were acting in the child's best interest, that you were healing her gut. I was teaching her discipline. Vanessa stood up, ignoring her lawyer's frantic attempts to pull her down. She is going to be famous. You are all just jealous because she is special. She is elite. Do you know how much money I invested in her coaching? In her wardrobe? You are ruining her career. Her career? The judge asked, her voice dangerously low. She is 7 years old. She is a brand. Vanessa screamed, her mask finally slipping completely. She is my masterpiece. And you are ruining her. Look at her now. That grandmother has probably filled her with sugar. She's probably bloated and disgusting already. That is enough. The judge slammed the gavel down so hard, it sounded like a gunshot. Mrs. Vanessa Miller, you are hereby finding to be an immediate and severe danger to the physical and emotional well-being of the child. Vanessa froze. I am granting full temporary custody to the paternal grandmother, Margaret Miller. The judge continued. You, Mrs. Miller, are to have absolutely no contact with the child. No visits. No calls. No social media posts involving her image. I am also issuing a court order for you to undergo a psychiatric evaluation for Munchausen by proxy and severe narcissistic personality disorder. You can't do that. Vanessa shrieked as the bailiff moved toward her. She's mine. I made her. And you almost broke her, the judge said. David Miller, you retain supervised visitation rights, contingent on your completion of parenting classes and individual therapy to understand why you allowed this abuse to occur. David nodded, his head in his hands. He accepted the judgment. He knew he deserved it. This hearing is adjourned, the judge said. I walked out of that courtroom feeling 10 pounds lighter. Vanessa was still screaming as they let her out the side door, yelling about calories and contracts. It was pathetic. It was tragic. But it was over. The road to recovery was not easy. You don't undo years of brainwashing in a day. When I brought Lily home, she was terrified of my kitchen. She would stand in the doorway, eyeing the refrigerator like it was a monster. It's okay, baby, I would say. Come in. The first week, she would only eat clear broth. If I tried to give her solid food, she would have panic attacks, crying that she could feel herself getting fat. It broke my heart to see a 7-year-old checking her stomach in the mirror, pinching skin that wasn't there. I took her to a child psychologist who specialized in eating disorders. Dr. Aris was a miracle worker. She used play therapy to help Lily understand that food was fuel, not an enemy. One afternoon, about 2 months after the trial, it was Lily's 8th birthday. I had debated what to do. A cake seemed aggressive, but it was a birthday. You have to have cake. I made a simple vanilla sponge cake with strawberry frosting. I put 8 candles on it. David came over for his supervised visit. He brought a dollhouse, not a modeling kit, not clothes, but a dollhouse. He looked better too. He had left Vanessa. He was living in a small apartment going to therapy, learning how to be a father instead of an ATM. We sat at the table. I lit the candles. Make a wish, Lily, David said softly. Lily closed her eyes. She squeezed them tight. She blew out the candles. I cut a small slice and put it on a plate in front of her. The room went quiet. Lily stared at the cake, the pink frosting, the fluffy sponge. Mommy says sugar is poison, she whispered. Mommy isn't here, I said, putting my hand over hers. And Mommy was wrong. Sugar is just joy. In moderation, it is just joy. It's okay, Lil Bit, David said, using an old nickname he hadn't used in years. I'm eating it too. Look. David took a huge bite of his slice. He exaggerated the chewing. Grandma's recipe. Lily looked at him, then at me. She picked up her fork. Her hand trembled, but less than before. She took a tiny piece of cake, just a crumb with a bit of frosting. She put it in her mouth. I held my breath. Her eyes widened. The sweetness hit her tongue. The taste of childhood. The taste of freedom. A slow smile spread across her face. It was the first real smile I had seen in years. It tastes like strawberries, she said. It does, I smiled, tears streaming down my face. She took another bite. Then another. She didn't finish the slice, but she ate half of it. And she didn't cry. She didn't check her stomach. She just licked the frosting off her fork and laughed when David got some on his nose. That night, as I tucked her into bed, a bed with fluffy comforters, not the stark cold bedding Vanessa preferred, Lily looked at me. Grandma? Yes, my love? I don't miss the green juice. I laughed softly and kissed her forehead. I don't miss it either, baby. Is Mommy coming back? No, I said firmly. Mommy needs to get better. She has a sickness in her mind that makes her scared of food. Until she gets better, she can't be around you. Okay, she said, sounding relieved. I like it here. Smells like bread. That's the smell of home, I said. Vanessa never got better. She refused the psychiatric help. She started a new Instagram account, claiming she was a martyr for the health movement, and that the government stole her child to poison her. She has followers, sad people who believe her lies. But she has no daughter. David is trying. He is there every weekend. He cooks with us now. He is learning that love is feeding someone, not critiquing them. And Lily? Lily is 9 now. She is still slender, it is her build, but she is healthy. Her cheeks are rosy. She plays soccer. She comes home with grass stains on her knees and mud in her hair. She isn't a model. She isn't a brand. She is a child. Last week we went to the pool, a public one full of noise and splashing. Lily wore a bright yellow swimsuit with polka dots. She jumped off the diving board, making a huge splash, screaming with delight. I sat in my chair watching her. I ate a sandwich. I watched her surface, shaking the water from her hair. Laughing, looking for me. She waved. Grandma, watch this. I waved back. My dears, there are many kinds of prisons. Some have bars. Some have locks. And some look like beautiful glass houses, filled with green juice and silence. If you see a child fading away, do not stay silent. Do not worry about being polite. Do not worry about mind your own business. Starvation is not a parenting style. Cruelty is not a lifestyle choice. I broke my family to save my granddaughter. And watching her eat a slice of birthday cake without fear, that was worth every single scar. Pay attention to the little ones. They cannot fight for themselves. That is what we grandmothers are for. We are the watchers. And when we see the wolf, even if the wolf is wearing designer heels, we bite. Thank you for listening.